In recent years, we've seen a huge resurgence in genres that would traditionally be associated with a hardcore, old-school PC gaming crowd. Most prominently, we have roguelikes, games that are quite literally like Rogue, and their successors, the roguelites. We've also seen a recent surge in old-school style CRPGs from developers like Obsidian and Larian. But a traditional PC-centric genre we've seen far less of a resurgence in is the tile-based dungeon crawler, games descended from the lineage of Dungeon Master and Eye of the Beholder. But there has been one very notable series that has taken up the mantle, The Legend of Grimrock. And today, we're looking at The Legend of Grimrock 2. Why look at the sequel? Because, much like the sequels to its predecessors, the second Legend of Grimrock game improves pretty massively on the original. But at its core, what is this game? If you've never played a first-person tile-based dungeon crawler before, it's a turn-based system where you navigate in the 4 cardinal directions around a grid, as does every other enemy in the world. Everyone and everything is moving on that same turn cycle and is subject to the same limitations that you are. When you enter into combat, it still takes place in that same perspective, where those same turn-based limitations on your actions, as well as a requirement that your weapons and spells must be equipped to one of the 2 hands of each party member. The other important thing to note is that you have a party of 4, and positioning the party is everything. On a very basic level, you'll want to put your more tanky, melee-based characters up front, and your ranged spellcasters and archers in back. But depending on the class makeup you're taking into the game, that can change quite a bit. Granted, a party of 4 spellcasters could be quite powerful, but you'd need to be extremely careful with letting them take damage. On the other hand, a party of 4 tank characters would be completely worthless, because the tank characters at the rear of the party would not ever be able to attack unless the characters in front had perished. But all these basic mechanics were in the first game. What differentiates its sequel and makes it more worth looking at? Much like Eye of the Beholder 2 or Dungeon Master 2, Grimrock 2 takes you out of the dingy dungeon that made up the entirety of the original game, and it puts you in a bigger world. Granted, there are still a lot of underground dungeons in this new world, but you'll find yourself outside of them pretty often. And there's a diverse collection of above-ground environments, each with their own unique set of enemies that keep everything varied and interesting. The first game's dungeon, while fun, and while it did have a decent variety of enemies as you descended to lower and lower levels, never really got a palette swap, something that Grimrock 2 does quite often, and which helps to keep the game both exciting and engaging. Another thing that helps is a greatly expanded, more intriguing narrative, and it's frankly more intriguing because it's spread across multiple locations that feel different. You'll actually find unique places in the world that help educate you about this island you're trapped on. Granted, like you expect, the story is pretty much entirely told in text, but as someone with nostalgia for these types of old-school PC games, that honestly helps more than it hurts. And if you don't like the story the developers have provided in the box, the game's been out long enough now that there are a wide variety of different user-created levels with their own stories and worlds. I will grant you that Legend of Grimrock is a bit hardcore. The game is rather challenging, even on the easier difficulties, and a lot of people won't find the struggle really worth having for the game that's here. But if you're looking to see what PC games have been like in the past, beyond the more commonly revived genres that the market is slowly becoming flooded with, this is a fantastic place to start. And I think it's a journey, however arduous, that's well worth taking. In case you missed it, I look at games that people have missed. If you like that idea, be sure to subscribe so you can see the latest videos. If you like this video in particular, be sure to hit that like button, and thanks for watching.